So let's take a quick look at what it means to take these fundamental principles, these three ideas, verticality, rounded back, and the hips being dropped, or the tailbone being dropped, and see what happens if we move with those three principles. We're going to do a very simple walking exercise, right? Essentially, we're going to attempt to walk from this point to over there. Very simple, except that the one thing we don't want to do is to fall onto the front foot, right? Because usually when we walk, stick our foot out and then we fall onto the foot, and then we yank the other foot up and then we fall onto the other foot. And we don't want to do that. What we want to do is to find the range of the hip, which means that our step is going to be as long as the hip is going to determine, not the foot. And that's the first fundamental change in our mindset that we want to have. So here in this case, I am sitting down on the right leg, which means that I bend the right knee, my hips are tucked, my spine is vertical, and there's no weight on the left leg. And I'm going to take that foot and I'm going to place it in front of me. Now, where I place it is not dependent on where I want to put the foot, but where my hip, by turning, lets the foot land. That's the important part, right? Because notice, if I put my foot an inch further, in order to do that, it pulls me forward. I'm now no longer vertical. In order for me to maintain my verticality, I need to simply place the foot where my hip allows me to place the foot. And that is going to be the length of our step, right? So the main change here is mental. Instead of deciding where we're putting the foot, we're allowing the hip and the body to place the foot. And then shift forward. Now my left knee is bent. There's no weight on my right. You may notice there is a slight bounce in the leg. So if I'm sitting here, place the foot forward, shift, sit down on that left leg. I'm going to rise up slightly to clear space for that foot, swing from the hip, place the foot, sitting down, hips tucked, my weight's on the left leg, and now I shift the weight to the front. Rise up slightly, swing the foot, let it fall onto the ground, shift the weight. So now one of the things that you want to do is to start paying attention to that shift, right? So if my foot is front, my left foot is in front, and there's no weight on it, but I'm going to start shifting the weight forward. Pay attention to the shift in feeling of that weight shift. How does it feel for now that foot to be receiving the weight? How does it feel for the other foot to be releasing that weight? So now I swing forward, the leg is empty, there's still no weight on this front foot. All my weight is still on the left foot in this case, right? And then I shift, so I pay attention. How does it feel? What part of the foot first receives the weight? How is my verticality expressed? Right, as I shift from one foot to the next, and one foot to the next, and one foot to the next. And you should feel very quickly, hopefully fairly soon, that really the experience of walking is the experience of taking the vertical line that connects essentially your hips to the top of your head, really with the perineum, so the point in between where essentially your hips meet, and the crown of the head, and that line of verticality is moving through space. And as you move through space, the legs, starting from the hip joints, are sliding forward in order to support that vertical line, right? So the experiences of moving the vertical line through space and letting the hips do their work in order to maintain support for that vertical line. So the hips, the waist, is almost like a platter with a stack of plates on top of it. And you're moving that forward, right? So the hips are moving and you're balancing the stack of plates, which is your spine, with the head on top, and it's moving through space. All right? So that's the feeling that you want to have. You're not falling forward. If you're a fall forward, the whole stack of plate falls forward. So this is not tension, this is not hull, this is actually maintaining that verticality at all times as you move. And notice it's easier if you relax, if you drop the shoulders. Everything falls, and then you just place the foot and then shift forward. Pick up the foot, place the foot, and just shift forward. Very easy, very relaxed. That in itself is a walking meditation, especially if you start matching breath and movement. So every time you take a step, you breathe. This means that, for example, I can inhale as I place my foot forward and then exhale. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. And then I can just relax and just find that vertical line, relax the shoulders, hips are tucked. Breathe in, it's an expansion that allows me to bring the foot forward, and exhale. Breathe in. Very simple, very relaxed, very slow. The steps are small. They're determined by the swing of the hip, right? Not by your mind deciding where your foot is. That in and of itself is a meditation. That is going to become a core skill, because what it means is that you have an awareness of walking, of moving through space. It's not just something that happens without consciousness. Now you're making unconscious or less visible or less conscious items in your movements in your life, and you're trying to make them conscious so that you can start really looking at how do you move, right? Are you moving correctly? Most importantly, are you moving in a way that is relaxed and efficient? So I would encourage you to simply do that walking exercises for as long as you want, as often as you want. You can do it in your kitchen, you can do it while walking the dog, it doesn't matter. Simply having these moments of conscious walking. And again, making sure that you're not just moving forward, falling onto the foot, but that it really is this feeling of generating motion from the hips. It's the hip that is rotating and that is essentially bringing the foot forward. It's not the foot moving, it's the hip rotating. That's a crucial distinction, right? So just getting into that space of moving through space because you're rotating the hips, breathing nice and deep, and starting to match motion and breath, right? Breathing in, breathing out, breathing in, breathing out. So if you just do that, you're already on your way, okay?